I want you to think about the most financially responsible person you know. Maybe it's you. Maybe it's your parents. Maybe it's a friend who did everything right. They went to school, they got a good job, they earned a solid income, and they lived within their means, and they saved consistently. Now, let me ask you a question about that person. Are they actually getting ahead? Or are they just trying to convince themselves that they're getting ahead? Because here's a truth that the financial system has buried so deep that most people will go their entire lives without ever seeing it clearly. The American tax code has exactly two groups of people that it was designed to protect: the very poor and the very wealthy. And as for everyone else in between, they're the ones who are funding the system. They're the engine. And the most painful part is, they volunteered for it. Not because they're foolish, but because nobody ever showed them the exit. Now, let's lay this out clearly, because once you see the structure, you can't unsee it. First, we have Tier 1, low-income earners. The tax code offers them a significant safety net. Earned income credits, deductions, programs designed to offset their burden. They pay little to nothing in federal income tax, and that's by design, because you can't squeeze water from a stone. Now let's jump up to Tier 3, the wealthy. Right, these are the true owners, people with assets, businesses, and equity. They have access to depreciation and pass-through deductions, capital gains rates instead of income rates, the ability to borrow against assets tax-free, and generational transfer strategies that allow entire fortunes to pass to heirs with the tax bill simply erased. And then there's Tier 2, the middle class. Household income somewhere between $80,000 and $400,000. These people are often college educated, they're working hard, they're doing the right things, and they are statistically paying the highest effective tax rate of anyone in the country. Not the highest rate on paper, the highest rate in reality, once you account for what they can't deduct, what they can't defer, and what strategies are simply unavailable to them because they haven't crossed into the ownership tier yet. They are the engine of the American tax machine. And the cruelest part is, their tax income level makes them feel successful enough to stay in the game without ever realizing they're the ones being taxed to fund it. Take a household earning $200,000 a year in W-2 income. You got two professionals, good careers, nice life. Before they spend a single dollar, here's what's happening. They've got federal income tax. They have state income tax, and depending on where they live, that's another 5 to 13%. FICA, that's Social Security and Medicare, takes another 7.65% from each of them. And because they earn above certain thresholds, they phase out of deductions and credits that lower earners still get. By the time that money actually lands in their hands, they've often lost 35 to 42 cents of every dollar they've earned. Not to spending, not to bad decisions, just to the act of earning it. That means they're working roughly 3 to 5 months out of the year just to pay taxes. Now, compare that to a business owner with $200,000 in profit flowing through a well-structured entity. They get to deduct their home office, and their vehicle, and their travel, and their equipment, and their software, and their meals, all as legitimate business expenses before calculating their taxable income. Their effective tax burden on the same $200,000 might be half of the W-2 workers, or compare it to someone whose $200,000 comes from long-term capital gains, assets they've held for over a year. Meanwhile, the W-2 worker is paying 37% on their top dollar of income, while the investor is paying 15% on theirs. Both of them made $200,000. One got taxed by a system that views their labor as the most taxable thing imaginable. The other got taxed by a system that rewards ownership. Same dollar amount, but a completely different game. Now, here's where it gets really sinister, because it's not just that middle-class earners pay anymore, it's that the very act of earning more as a W-2 worker can trap you even more deeply. When your income rises, your tax bracket rises. Your ability to deduct things like student loan interest or IRA contributions phases out. Your exposure to the alternative minimum tax increases, and your lifestyle, the mortgage, the cars, the private school, those things rise to match the income because that's what success is supposed to look like, right? You end up earning more and feeling like you have less, and you're right. You do have less. The strategies available to the wealthy, like depreciation offsets and tax-free borrowing and cost segregation and bonus depreciation, most of these things require that you own something first. These things are not available to simple income earners. They're only accessible once you've made the jump from worker to owner, which means the system isn't just taxing you more in the middle, it's also making it harder to leave the middle, because every dollar you try to deploy toward ownership, towards your first investment property, your first piece of land, your first storage unit, each one of those dollars had to survive the tax gauntlet first. So you've got to try to build a ladder using lumber that's already been taxed at 40%. So how do people actually get out? Well, the honest answer is most of them don't. Not because they can't, but because they don't know the door even exists. But there is a door, and it doesn't require being wealthy to walk through it. It requires owning one thing that the tax code treats as a business rather than a paycheck. This is where I've seen ordinary people, I'm talking like teachers, engineers, nurses, and people with perfectly normal W-2 jobs make the shift. Not by quitting their jobs, not by winning the lottery, by acquiring their first income-producing asset and suddenly having access to a completely different set of rules. For example, a small piece of vacant land bought below market value and sold on terms creates capital gains income rather than ordinary income. Immediately, you're in a lower tax bracket for that dollar. You're playing a different game. A self-storage facility, even a small one, even in a secondary or tertiary market, opens the door to depreciation, cost segregation, entity structuring, and all the deductions that come with owning a business rather than working for one. It's not even about the specific asset per se, it's about crossing the line from labor to ownership, because that line is where the tax code flips. Now, you might be wondering, why isn't this stuff common knowledge? Why doesn't anybody teach this in school? And why don't financial advisors lead with this stuff? Why does this feel like such a secret? Well, the answer, if you want to be cynical about it, is that the system works exactly as it's intended. Middle-class W-2 earners are the most reliable, most efficient tax base the government has. They can't restructure. They can't defer. They can't borrow against assets that they don't own. They just earn and they pay year after year after year. And they do it willingly, sometimes even proudly, because they were told that paying taxes is the price of success, that a big tax bill means a good year. But that logic only holds if you're playing the worker's game, because in the owner's game, a big tax bill is a sign that you're playing the wrong hand. The goal isn't to earn more. The goal is to keep more and to deploy what you keep into assets that change the game permanently. All right, so if you're still with me, here's the takeaway. The middle class isn't losing because they're lazy. They're not losing because they're unlucky. And they're not losing because the economy is unfair, even though it kind of is. They're losing because they're playing a game with rules they never agreed to, using a strategy that was never designed to win. The exit isn't complicated, and it's not glamorous. It doesn't require millions of dollars or a finance degree. It requires one change. From thinking like a worker to thinking like an owner. One asset, one deal, one step across that line. And suddenly, you're playing a completely different game. If you want to understand exactly what that first step looks like and how people with ordinary incomes are making it happen right now, subscribe and stay close. That's exactly what the next video covers.